it is time for another book haul and unhaul. Welcome to this House of Books. My name is Ashley, and I'm excited that I'm going to continue on with this. I am having fun doing these videos where I share all the books that I have brought in since my last video and all the books I'm getting rid of. And there's a stack for both. I will say that my haul was a big number, but then I realized that no, there were a couple of books at the end of January that I had purchased. It was after my last book haul and unhaul video. So those got tacked on. So it is even bigger. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm going on a book buying ban, but it's time to just cut it back just a little bit. At the beginning of the year, I tallied and showed all the books that are unread on my shelves, and I would like to get that number down. I definitely don't want to get it down to 0. I love having a huge variety of books on my shelves that I can just pick up and read, but there's a certain number I would like to get it down under, and I am not doing that so far. All right, let's talk about the books that I'm getting rid of. 3 of them were books that I read. Well, really 4 of them were books that I read last month, but one of them I'm going to get rid of the whole series. Yeah, they all have stuff to do with last month. I will probably be going through my shelves again pretty soon and just kind of going through and seeing if there's any books that I have read and they made it back on my shelves, but I don't necessarily want them on my shelves anymore. So we'll see. The first is The City of Thieves by David Benioff. Read this last month. It was okay. It was not my favorite World War II story. So time to hand that over to somebody else. Then I have my lowest book of last month, and this is The Little Old Lady Who Broke All the Rules. It was not for me. I don't know quite what went wrong in this book. There was a lot. It will go on to somebody else. And then I also have Untethered Sky by Fonda Lee. I read it last month as well. I could have used another 300 pages. I wanted more from this world, and I didn't get it. And I tend to like little short books. I don't mind them. They're nice little palate cleansers in between some of my huge fantasy books. This one didn't do it. And then I am going to get rid of the whole duology for What the River Knows and Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez. So I read this one last year and it was 4 stars. It was okay. I just read the second one last month and I think kind of rounding to a 3.5. It wasn't great, at least just in my opinion. So I will be getting rid of this whole series. All right, now that we got those out of the way, let's talk about books that I'm bringing into the house. All right, I had a couple of pre-orders. Yes, there's a stack over here. One of my pre-orders was Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. This is the 3rd in the Emily Wilde series by Heather Fawcett. I enjoy this series. I like the kind of cozy vibes. I like Emily and her relationship and friendship and exchanges with Wendell. It's just, I really like this series. I think I've given the first 2 books 4 stars. It's a 4-star series for me. But I have this one now to add on to it. I also pre-ordered The Bones Beneath My Skin by TJ Klune. He's an auto-buy author, and so when I saw that this was coming out, I had to buy it. Now, I did look, and I think that this had been previously released. Yeah, it says 2018. So I'm wondering if maybe, oh yeah, he had self-published it, and then his publishing group finally picked it up. But this is, oh yeah, okay, spring of 1995, Nate Cartwright has lost everything. His parents are dead, his only brother wants nothing to do with him, and he's been fired from his job as a journalist in Washington, D.C. He returns to his family's summer cabin and realizes it's not empty. There's a man named Alex and an extraordinary 10-year-old girl who calls herself Artemis Darth Vader. And she's not as she appears. Sounds fun. My next little stack of books. are books that I am adding to my library that I think are important to have in my little library. So I got Fahrenheit 451. I have never read it before, and I feel like it needs to be done, so I have added that. I have learned a lot about American history since homeschooling my kids, but I want to continue on with that learning. So I got Howard Zinn's A People's History to the United States. This one will be a good one. Chronicles American history from the bottom up, throwing out the official narrative taught in schools with its emphasis on great men in high places to focus on the street, the home, and the workplace. And then I have Erasing History, How Fascists Rewrite the Past to Control the Future by Jason Stanley. Yep. So my goal is to just have a nonfiction going all the time. I have one right now that is homeschool related. I've been reading it for a long time. My goal is to finish it this month. And then I have these and some other nonfiction books that I would like to get to. And yeah, those are definitely going on that list. And then I went a little crazy in my book of the month box. If you watched my last reading vlog, I did a little sneak peek unboxing in that, but I will still include them here. I had skipped for January. I didn't get any books in January from book of the month. Just none of the main ones were ones that I really necessarily wanted at that point. And I wanted add-ons, but I couldn't get them. So I decided to wait, and then I made up for it. So the first one that I got is Blackwood's Blue Sky by Owen Ivy. This, I have heard, is like The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna, and I can't remember what else it is compared to. Is it like, what's the Catherine Arden one? I don't have the first one here. I'll put a picture of it here. Maybe like that, like a kind of bringing in both of those, but it's mythical landscapes of Alaska with an unforgettable dark fairy tale that asks the question, can love save us from ourselves? Very good. And then I got A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young. One of my top favorite books of last year was Adrienne Young, so I definitely want to check this one out as well. A woman investigates her twin brother's mysterious death while confronting the ghosts of her own haunted past. Sounds good. This one is not new to February, but I have been hearing people talk about it all the time, and so I added it on. But it's The Wedding People by Alison Espach. So I believe that it's a woman is going to an inn to off herself, unalive herself. And the only catch is that there's a wedding going on. Sorry, the sunlight is changing, and so it's changing my camera. There's a wedding going on, and somehow the bride finds out that this woman is planning to do that, and so is like, no, please don't do that at my wedding. So I've been hearing a lot about this, and definitely want to read it. Then my next... Let's just finish out the trilogy. This is Scythe and Sparrow by Brenton Weaver. This is book 3 in the Ruinous Love trilogy. The first one being Butcher and Blackbird, which I enjoyed. It was a 4-star book. Look at the trigger and content warnings. There are a lot. I did not like the second one at all. I gave it a 2-star rating, and that was being generous. I'm curious to see where this one is, especially because I did like the first one, so hopefully this one will be better. It is following the last brother in this series, and following him, I know he's a doctor. This will be interesting because the other ones weren't necessarily like good guys to start, but how does that go into play when he's a doctor? And then my last for book of the month is The Kingdom of Claw. This is book 2 in the Ashen series by Demi Winters. I have the first book being Road of Bones. I have not read it yet, but I decided it was on book of the month. I would like to have matching copies if I like this series, but this is Viking-inspired romantic fantasy. There we are. That is all the books that I thought I had hauled. And then as I was writing out my list of all of these books, I went, oh wait, there's more. So at the very end of January, I went to my favorite used bookstore, and they had some books. I picked up The Sweet Spot by Amy Popel. Popal. Every now and then just having one of these like little rom-com, no high stakes books is really nice. 1 divorce, 1 social media disaster, 1 random baby, and 3 unlikely friendships. Welcome to the sweet spot. It's a good palate cleanser. What really caught my eye, I think, they might be the same editions. I've seen this a lot, but then I saw this beautiful copy. So this is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. I mean, that's absolutely gorgeous. Look at the spine. So picked this up. An untested young princess must claim her throne, learn to become a queen, and combat a malevolent sorceress in an epic battle between light and darkness in the spectacular debut, the first novel in a trilogy. So I will have to figure out where to get the 3rd copy in such a pretty edition, because look how gorgeous that is. And it has an attached bookmark. Nothing really on the sides. Maybe fine. It's the same papers on the back. So excited to have that. And then they had book 2, and I don't think it's quite the same edition, but it's still pretty. This is The Invasion of the Tearling. So book 2. Yep, riveting sequel. Happy to have those onto my huge stack of books. I don't know if I can hold all of these up. I can try. It's 13 books, by the way. It's a little precarious. Let's see. All right, let's see. Can I get them all? Oh, there we are. Yep. So not necessarily a buying ban, but, maybe just a little bit of a cutback. On that note, I'm going to go find a place to put all of these. That'll be interesting. And then I will be back next month with another haul and unhaul video. If you like this or anything else that I post here on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.